What is going on, everybody? Fluxo here, and welcome to this week's video, where we're going to find ourselves in the western oasis part of the Dune Desert. You may be wondering what it is we're doing here. Well, I wanted to take you guys on a journey with me to build the most aesthetically pleasing megabase we can within the complex and challenging canyons of the Dune Desert. The tucked away area of this world offers a great deal of challenges ranging from tight spaces to steep cliffs. I think if we work with the terrain and build into it, we can come out with something to be proud of. Today's episode, we're going to be making a start by turning this area we see here into an entrance to our world, TYPHON Industries. I started by removing only what foliage I needed to around the arched entrance, and then I built a basic platform to start me off. I then ensured that that platform was high enough to avoid any terrain down below. I have noticed that a lot of you guys wonder why I built fixed foundations first and then changed them to my desired foundation. I do this because in my opinion the fixed foundation have the clearest guidelines to show which direction the foundation is being laid, which helps a lot when it comes to laying textured foundations like asphalt, as when zoomed out it gives a much smoother look. Once I had laid my starter platform, I then added my incoming road for vehicles. And there I started laying my pillared wall. I then cut out the entrance for the vehicles and laid the rest of the road into the archway. Ensuring that I stayed on the same grid, I then brought up the foundations to the next level and built the second platform for my train. I then brought up the foundations from the road so I could mirror the income of the lower road for the railway. After adding walls from the platform to the ground, I gave them a darker paint to start giving the build a little depth. I then brought the corners together to prevent the road from looking too boxed off. We now had an issue with the patterns and the foundations overlapping and Z-fighting. I overcame this by using the pillar and road barrier method to slightly raise the foundation, which perfectly resolved the issue. If you are wondering how this is done, I will leave a link to the video down below in the description. To finish off, I just added some outline to the additional road. After playing around with the incoming railway, I decided that it was overshadowing the road a little bit too much, so I decided to move it over to the left. I was purposely leaving the space over to the right of the build as I wanted to bring the two levels together by using a large scale sign, which I think worked perfectly. If you're wondering how I managed to get this look on the signs, you can very easily just copy and paste symbols into the game. Not all symbols work, but when you do find one that does, it can really take your signs to another level. After I was happy with the sign, I enclosed it into the build using pillars, which then brought the whole two levels together. By continuing to use the pillars, it perfectly brought the wall into the higher platform. Now we were starting to get structure in the build, I extended the platform and laid down the train station. Once I was happy with the placement, I then encased the station using foundations to give it a more solid feel. From there, I finished that off with patterns and a 1 meter wall to make the whole thing feel more like a station platform. Next up, I wanted to give structure to the incoming railway and road, so I used foundations to stencil out my pillars and then hollowed them out until I found a look that I was happy with. Once I was happy with the shape, I extended the road out to await the next pillar, and then added some final edging using walls to give them a polished look. Lastly, I followed the same design under the road and added an inverted ramp to each side to give the stanchions a solid feel. Next, I brought the railway out so I could place the train along it. This always gives me a really good indication for the height of my ceilings. Now we have a really good outline of the structure to the build. I started to shape the inside of the entrance. I used foundations to get the height I wanted for the lower part of my window. After placing the window, I then used beams to encase it. From there, I added the ceiling and then hollowed it out to encase the lighting for the main entrance. After that, I finished the ceiling for the reception area and then added a workshop for aesthetic purposes. I will be adding more to these rooms during my stream, so if you do want to come and hang out when we go live, the link to the Twitch is down below. Lastly, I added a simple posted sign and then added beams and lights around the doorway to finish it all off. Moving on to the outside, I played with some aesthetics, adding a fixed sign above the doorway, and then I toned down the concrete on either side of the main sign. finish off the main sign, I added an overhanging roof and then coloured the rest of the pillars darker and then filled the last gap in with the remaining pillars. To give myself an idea of the top platform roof, I gave myself an outline and then filled in the remaining areas with more pillared walls. Lastly, I cut through this right angle to take the blockiness feeling out of the roof. Now we had a complete shell to the entrance, it was time to give the whole thing some character. I started with the bottom platform, using angled concrete pillars in different directions gave it a whole new shape. I then played around with the colours, giving the whole lower platform the depth and character it needed. Using pillars as walls is something I've been doing for a long while now. I think it's a perfect way for giving a brutalistic character to a build, making everything feel firm and structured. Lastly, I angled the top of the window ledge and added some beams to maintain the firm look I am going for. I highlighted the concrete to help it stand out, and then added some last few touches to finish off the lower platform. To finish off the top platform, I started by shaping the outer platform roof to take away from the box feel. To give more character, I highlighted the center of this flat wall and added a sign to give it even more depth. Again, I made use of the angled pillars by somewhat encasing the signed area. After that, I brought down the roof shape to give me a lower stencil to work from. Then I started to shape out the entrance pillars for the train station. I dealt with this edging problem by using a concrete pillar and a 1 meter wall to place the edging exactly where I needed it. Once I was happy with the right side, I removed this previously built wall and mirrored the opposite side the best I could. The very last part of the build, I kept with using the angled pillars to give shape and depth to the entrance, and was really happy with the outcome. I carried through the gridded look to the roof to help give the roof some shape and character. I then smoothed off the roof and added a pillared wall with a door leading out onto the platform balcony. Last but not least, I topped everywhere with an edging and added a structured window. I then simply finished the left side with the same edging. So there you have it, guys, our entrance to TYPHON Industries. I hope you guys enjoyed this style of video as much as I enjoyed making it. I love the concept of doing weekly episodes, and when I put this one out in the Discord, you guys actually got back to me and said that you would like to see something like this. Let me know in the likes and comments if you did enjoy this video. If you are new here, maybe consider subscribing. As for myself, I will catch you all in the Discord.